Continue to make my
I don't know if I want to do an intro. Okay, the intro is the no intro, so we'll run with that. Somebody that needs no introduction, Flynn. I've had the absolute pleasure of working at the same brokerage with you for some time. And today, I'm so glad you came on. We've been chatting for a couple of weeks about getting you on. I know you've been busy with the listings and real estate and kids and family life. So thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to be asking you some very difficult questions today.
Bring it on, Phil.
Mainly, I think a lot of people, they know you around the office, but we don't all know why you got into real estate. Where are you originally? Are you originally from Nova Scotia? No.
Yeah.
You are originally from
born
there.
and raised in Nova Scotia. I'm a Dartmouth girly.
Okay.
Always lived on the Dartmouth side. Sometimes I feel like Dartmouth has a bad rep, especially with out-of-town buyers. They hear things, but I love Dartmouth. And Dartmouth as a community is growing, especially the downtown core.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
And that's funny because when you're a relative newcomer here, that sort of stigma or whatever it is that people said, I just don't see it. Like I've shown so many homes in Dartmouth and it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's a throwback to like 100 years ago or something. And
I mean, every town, every city, you're going to have bad pockets, like neighborhoods that you might not want to live in with a family or most desirable. And then you're going to have great growing community spots.
Yeah.
So it's about knowing those areas. There's places in Halifax I wouldn't walk alone at night, and Dartmouth. Right.
Yeah.
And Bedford, everywhere.
So you grew up in Dartmouth.
Yep.
Which part of Dartmouth did you grow up in?
Kind of the central area. I went to Hawthorne when I was growing up. And then I went to Prince Arthur, which isn't around anymore.
Yeah.
There's a new name for it. Okay. And then Dartmouth High.
Dartmouth, okay.
Yeah.
And did you go study after school?
Yeah, I went to NSCC. I took marketing.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, well, fantastic. That's why you're so good at this game.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a logical... so I was going to ask you what you did before real estate. Was there something that you did?
Yeah, after I graduated, I got into enterprise and insurance, and I wasn't happy, mostly because I had a family at that time, and I didn't like the pressure of working in an office. And then I started working for Scotia HVAC, which is a heat pump company. So I learned so much about home efficiency. And then when my boss, he was like, I need somebody to go out to this house.
Yeah.
I said, great, I don't mind, I'll go. And he said, well, if you can sell, go. Like, get out of this office, sell. And I was nervous. And he said, I'll support you in making this change, but if you can be commissioned and do this, do it.
And did you feel kind of apprehensive about getting out there and getting in front of people?
No, not that part.
No. Okay.
Not that part at all. I was like, I was a server before I was, trying to establish myself in a business type role and figuring out what I wanted to do. People have never been my issue.
Yeah.
Being commissioned only was scary because there's ebbs and flows.
Yes.
There's times that we're going to think, oh gosh, I've hit poverty. When's my next, check going to come in? And then at that point is usually when business starts to grow and you're like, oh, I'm okay.
Yeah. So it's just like being a realtor.
Exactly. And so that's what happened. Unfortunately for him, me being comfortable being in commission, I was like, wow, I'm finally ready to be in real estate. That was the only thing keeping me back.
It does take a certain kind of resiliency not to have a guaranteed paycheck and to kind of, I guess, plan your life very intentionally so you can have some really good months and think, oh, it's Christmas, I'm going to go out and buy everything I always wanted. Or you could, squirrel that away. And I think a lot of people don't know that realtors, we don't have benefits or 13th checks or what do they call it, the RSP copays and all of those things. We have to take those plans out ourselves. and
Yeah.
pay that separately out of whatever we get. So we've got to plan that. And then the expenses don't go away just because you have a quiet month. You still have to meet all of your commitments.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And I think a lot of clients don't know how much of our paycheck we end up giving away to dues, and
right.
especially if you're on a team, stuff like that, it can be chiseled away fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So it's about, like, real estate is about learning how to invest that money, planning, getting strategic with it to have your money grow for you.
And we had another discussion a couple of weeks back. I didn't know this about you, that you had the rental properties, and this is something you've been doing for a while. Tell us a little bit more about how you came into those rental properties, and was that before real estate?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I meant to look up the year I bought my first house. I think I was 25, so not that long ago. Um, and so, yes, I bought my first house when I was 25 years old. And then my personal dynamic changed. So I moved in with my parents and I had my daughter, and it was just the two of us. So we ended up renting out that house with a property manager. It didn't work out very well. But in that time, I met my current husband,
Right.
and he had a rental property. And so I was like, oh, okay, like, we click, and you want to do rentals and I want to do rentals. So then when we met, he was getting another rental at that time. So I was like, all right, cool. And then we welcomed our son, and we were renovating this house, and it wasn't ready. So I had a toddler and a newborn and couch surfed for about 8 weeks.
Right.
And I said, Nate, finish one bedroom and a bathroom, we'll make everything else work. So it was this really adventurous time as a new family where we ate cereal out of paper cups and played Super Nintendo and just had mattresses on the floor.
Yeah.
And when the kids went to bed, we would stay up and renovate the kitchen and stuff. And this is how we met our goals. It wasn't luxurious, but it got us there. And then a few years later, COVID hit, and we bought another duplex. And then we finally got our family home.
You bought the duplex during COVID?
Yeah.
Did you get it at a ridiculous price, or
Yeah.
what you did?
Like, ridiculously
Okay.
good.
Oh, ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Because it was, I mean, we enjoy flipping houses. We
Yeah.
enjoy buying houses that need a lot of handiwork. Of course, it's going to be less detrimental to your pocket if you can do the work yourself, or leverage family members, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we like the really, really gross ones. The grosser, the better.
And you don't bring anyone in to help you?
We do, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
some of our handier friends or family members, they'll give us a hand. Nate's very handy. We
Yeah.
have some friends who enjoy, tearing down a wall and vice versa.
So this is all, I mean, everything from the marketing to the HVAC to the DIY, all of that has really just prepared you for a good career in real estate. So you could just hit the ground running. What was the one moment that you can recall saying, today is the day I want to become a realtor?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think I always knew. When I was young, I would watch the real estate channel. I found it very therapeutic. And when I was a teenager, my friends would be like, let's go hang out at a ball field. I'm like, no, let's go drive down Waverly and look at houses.
Right.
I've just always been very drawn to houses. And one time, my parents, they went to see a house and they put an offer on it, and they didn't end up getting it. And I forget what the exact reason was. I forget. But my mom was devastated. I think she probably cried for like 2 days.
Yeah.
She was heartbroken. And then she ended up, her and my dad, they were like, you know what, let's build our dream home. And it was the perfect lot, the perfect spot. It was better than that house could have ever been. And that was when I was like, I want to do this. Like, I know that
Yeah.
when somebody gets so bent out of shape about that being the house,
Yeah.
and it falls through the cracks for some reason, it means that there's something better waiting for them.
That's wonderful. And you have a deeper understanding in that in
Yeah.
order to coach your clients. Because, of course, not everybody can get the house sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have that empathy. Do you find that you can relate easily to clients when it comes to helping them, navigate that there's something, you mentioned that there's something better on the other side.
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to buy a house that you don't like, that you don't love, that you walk in and you don't get that feeling. You can
Yeah.
see your family growing here, or, you're growing a business here, whatever you're buying your house for. You don't settle for a house, you buy the house.
Right.
So if it's not meant to, and it's just my theory, if it's not meant to be, it might be a little bit of heartache, but something better is waiting.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's really good advice.
Yeah.
I need some advice on something as well, Ben. I was going to ask you this question. How do you, like, you have kids and you have a busy career, and it's a career that keeps you busy. Sometimes the phone calls are going to come at any time of day or night, or something that you need to respond to. I love it when the agents put those tight deadlines on, like you need to respond by a couple of hours. So when these things happen to you, how do you balance a busy career and a busy life and a relationship, keeping that together, investing energy in that, which is important, and still having time to do other things, some leisure activities and some time for yourself?
Yeah. I think I can balance all of those things because I'm a realtor.
Okay.
So I control my schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, you do it very well. You've got 2 classes that you are,
Yes.
You don't miss those classes for anything.
Yeah.
And I actually found that very motivating. Something I fought very hard in this business was time blocking. And I'm still not perfect at it, but now I understand it better. I understand that I need to be more, what's the word? Intentional is the word I'm looking for. So yes, I need to make sure that I'm taking appropriate time to create closeness with my partner, to create closeness with our group of friends, to create memories as a family. In real estate, you control those things.
Yeah.
And you also find your core people that, if something comes up, because families are busy, they're always changing.
Yeah.
It's not every day is different. You find your people that you can say, listen, I was going to take my client here today, but the kid's sick or the teacher, like whatever it is,
Yeah.
Would you mind doing that for me? And most of the time, when you find your people, it's like, yeah, sure. And then you get them back when it's the same thing for them. My kid won their baseball tournament, so now they've got a game Tuesday, but I had clients from out of town. Great. Cover that for you.
And that's wonderful. It's more than that. That brings us to another question I had for you is the importance of friendships in real estate. Like, have you found that our friendship included, and you find that meeting people who have your back in real estate, and then there's another level where you become friends, and it's people who genuinely have your back through whatever you might be going through, and you're not alone. You kind of build that network. Have you found that real estate has sort of helped you in reaching that sort of level of friendship?
Beyond the scope of imagination.
Okay.
I am not going to cry on this podcast.
We can edit out the cry.
Really great. I think what kept me from being a realtor for so long was I never felt mature enough or fancy enough or, I don't know, grown up enough and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And no one ever told me how motivating and supportive and how much community there was getting together with these other agents. And part of that is where we work, Keller Williams. We are the warm, fuzzy, educational, we've got the mentors, everything. From the moment you step into Keller Williams, you feel surrounded by support. But then that goes a step beyond when you start mingling with other agents and growing together and stuff like that. But never did I imagine that other agents would show up for you in the way that they do and be so supportive and want to see everyone meet their own goals while working on theirs and stuff like that. Like it's a magical place to be, and everyone is so supportive to see each other grow all the time. It's amazing.
I was absolutely blown away by this as well, and I don't know if that is specifically for Keller Williams or if it's the same at other brokerages. Before I got into real estate, I was under the impression that the realtors were always like to themselves and
Or against each other.
And when you actually get in, you find that's not the case. I'm not saying everyone is the same, but for the most part, my experience has been that people can genuinely have your back, and more and over and above the work, you can forge some really meaningful friendships. And it's where you least expect it. You're not looking for it, and suddenly, oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we're all having our own adult experiences, and with that comes struggles, sicknesses, losses, stuff like that. And when you are commission only and growing your business and growing your income, and all of a sudden you're met with a tragedy. The last thing you want to do is trying to be working through that and worrying about your business. So to make these strong connections and bonds, it's incredible. The way I've seen people show up for each other has been the most, encouraging part of real estate that I've ever. I never thought I'd experienced that.
Well, I'm proud to call you a friend.
You as well.
Let's get away from the teary stuff.
Okay. All right.
And we'll talk about you're doing really well at real estate, and I love the way you post. That's really nice. And I've seen the way you had a recent listing in Bedford, and I open house that for you, and just the dynamic with that was fantastic. Can you give us some really good tips for how you run your business that other realtors might be able to follow? What works for you?
Maybe the fact that I am a people person.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that it's, for me, I enjoy this business, yes, because it's a way I feed my family, but I do it for all the warm and fuzzy Disney type of reasons. We get to help people do the most amazing things through one of the biggest purchases of their life.
Yeah.
And it's really just about the way you show up. So my biggest struggle in the business would be finding leads, getting that business flowing, stuff like that. But then when I'm typically in front of the client, I find they feel pretty at ease, pretty comfortable, pretty confident that I'm going to help them, educate them, and support them through this.
Yeah.
Because it's a big transaction, and a lot of things can be thrown into it. And, well, yes, I like to do it for the warm and fuzzy reasons. I can handle whatever's going to come at us as well.
You almost find sometimes, it's not just about being a realtor. It's a shoulder to cry on. It's, people sometimes share things with you which feel like they go beyond the call of duty, beyond what's within the scope of what we offer. And
all the time.
You seem like somebody who would show up for them. We can't obviously counsel people who step outside our lane.
No.
But very often people have this expectation that, you're all of it. And I guess you can show up to an extent and just put their minds at rest and coach them through the process and try to take as much stress away as possible.
Yeah, we're helping people through divorce, through loss, through many difficult situations.
Yeah.
And sometimes sometimes some agents, it's not going to be easy to take that stuff on. Some agents are going to find it easier to work with different clients. But the reality of this job is that we help people through some emotional stuff as well as some fun stuff. But there are divorces, deaths, and families, stuff like that, that need that extra care and empathy and slowness and time.
Yeah.
And if you can't match that, it's gonna feel kind of cold and empty.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those are some of the more challenging, transactions that we're going to have.
Give me one example of a successful transaction for you, something that you felt really good about. It doesn't necessarily have to be a very high value transaction, but something where you interacted with them in a way that gave you a lot of satisfaction at close for the way the deal went down.
Well, rarely it doesn't need to be a high, expensive transaction for it to be
Yeah.
an amazing story. I had clients who purchased a house and they were trying to start a family. They were struggling. They dealt with some losses and stuff like that. It was very hard. But they closed the house in the spring and they just welcomed their baby girl. And that's something that I don't know. I've heard these stories before about people buying a house or their nest, their forever
Yeah.
home, and then having that ease,
Yeah.
allowing a pregnancy to happen and starting a family and stuff like that. Not saying that that's how it happens,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
it's to be a part of that, and it's just, it's amazing.
It's true.
They felt like
Yeah.
they just moved in and they got so comfortable and just now they just have a beautiful family.
There's a lot of feel good around that, like you welcoming the new family member, getting the house, and then I think what a lot of people don't know about real estate agents, we kind of have a front row seat to these big life changes that people are going through.
Huge.
Yeah.
Huge. We get to help people buy homes that never thought they could buy homes.
Yes.
We get to help people meet their goals. We get to help people invest. And that's about sitting down and talking to and figuring out who's in front of us. Like, I don't want to just sell you a house today. I want to know like what your plans are. What do you want to do? Are you in the career you're going to be in? Do you want to invest in real estate? What are you doing? And where did you come from? Like, let's figure it out. Because we can help people not only buy homes, but set them up financially for the future too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a big and important purchase
Yeah.
in their lives.
Huge.
So those are good things. Now I want to know about some bad habits. Like, what are bad habits in general for realtors? Or if you want to, you can tell us about, I will say my bad habit is procrastination, but I have ways of working through that and getting motivated.
All right, let's
What-
turn this around. What
Oh
do you
gosh.
procrastinate
Well,
on?
I'm interviewing you.
What do you procrastinate on?
So if it's not imperative and needs to be dealt with straight away,
Mm-hmm.
then I might find myself diverting into something else.
Okay, leave the email for later.
Yeah, so I have, if it's a text message, that's easy. You can just respond to that straight away. I have a problem with that too, where I don't like to leave text messages unanswered. So that in itself is procrastination because you're not getting to another task at hand. So I've seen some realtors will not answer their text messages straight away. It can wait. I mean, honestly, it can wait, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour. If it's a really important transaction and, there's a deal in play and you're waiting for a response, of course, that's different. You do need to be pretty much dialed in on that. But I don't know if it's the same for you, like where you have things like lead generation, where you should be on it and doing it to encourage future sales, get future sales.
Mm-hmm.
But, do I really need to do the lead generation now, or could I be doing this other thing now?
Well, when you need to lead generate.
You know.
An hour's work today is, a sale in 3 months for us.
Yes.
The more we lead generate, this is me taking my own advice here, kids. The more consistent we are, the more consistently busy will be later, 3 months' time.
Yeah.
I would say my issue is laziness.
Okay.
Like every now and then I just get trapped. I'm like, oh, I feel caught up. You know what? Maybe I'll treat myself this morning. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, it's time to pick up the kids and I haven't done anything. But, you know, it's not a terrible thing.
No.
We are so on the go all the time that we deserve a little bit of downtime.
I will come to your defense on that. I'll say that because we're so dialed in, you know, almost 24/7. Yeah, I mean, obviously we sleep at night. But we'll have weekends where we are, you know, working and answering the phone and whatever. And then, you know, you might call it laziness if you're sitting on the couch and you just want a little bit of time for yourself. And then you're guilting yourself for taking that time.
Yeah, it's not restful laziness.
Oh, I like that.
Never experienced restful laziness because I'm sitting there thinking, oh, this is a great Marvel movie, but I should be doing 50 things.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
And maybe we should allow ourselves these small kindnesses, cut ourselves some slack and watch the movie and try not to have the guilt.
Comes back down to time blocking.
Comes back down to time blocking.
If our mentors could see this, I hope they do. But that's it. Like they preach time blocking, like have everything blocked out. It's a very hard concept for me. But you can even time block your lazy time, and if you don't do it, replace it. And I guess my weakness is time blocking.
And that's really good advice. I might try some time blocking. So thank you for that.
You're good at it.
Tip. Am I?
You are. You don't miss your 2 classes and you stick to it. Like that's the beginning of time blocking.
Yeah.
And we cannot, there's no possible way for any agent, I shouldn't say that, edit that out, or just know that it's my opinion, that with the amount of education we get consistently, that we can just take on all these new habits and perfect them the next day.
It's always learning.
It's always learning. Yeah. And it's always implementing new things that are going to hopefully benefit us or, you know, get us into better routines, habits, all that stuff. But there's no possible way for us to just implement the next day and nail it. I don't think it's realistic anyways.
I'm on the same page as you, and I find sometimes with the learning, it's so much to take in, but I think it came up in a reel or something where they were saying you don't have to take in absolutely everything. You're putting too much pressure on yourself. But if you come away with just 1 or 2 good things that are going to improve your business, that already is an incremental improvement.
Yeah.
And then there's that saying which says, try to be 1% better every day.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that's just it. I mean, I couldn't fathom time blocking my entire day, week, month, year. Oh, God.
Oh, it stops being fun.
Right? I mean, when would we have time to go to Activate? I can't even imagine.
We should totally do that again.
Yeah, probably in the next week or 2.
Yeah.
You need some time for spontaneity or whatever it is. Spontaneity?
Yeah.
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 But you know, being able to implement my classes or family time or dates with your partner or lead generating time or, you know, follow-ups or something like that. That's a good start.
Yeah. So time blocking, we're going to, I'm definitely going to do some research on that after this. I think I'm going to be I just installed ChatGPT on my phone, and I think a lot of realtors have already been using that. So not from a point of view that I want to let ChatGPT do all my stuff, but just maybe it can shed some light on effective ways to time block.
I did that.
Yeah.
And ChatGPT is crazy. Like I said I need to time block for being a realtor. So it gave me it gave me a whole block of what my week should look like. And then I said, well, you know, add in being a mom.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, well, here's, you know, your pickup and all this stuff. Like it just adds on. So it's a helpful tool.
Okay.
But again, it's not about being perfect or, you know, implementing too much. Just little steps.
If you, there's a lot of new realtors coming in. And guess what? We're not new realtors anymore. We've been around a number of years.
Oh my gosh, we're not new anymore.
So now we have the unique position, or not unique position, to give some advice to new realtors. What advice would you give to new realtors just coming into the market now? We came in during COVID, which was a whole nother ball game. Now it's kind of level and, a little more calm. What advice would you give to new realtors coming into the market?
I recommend to anybody doing the exams and courses studying to get into Chad's class. Did you do Chad's class?
Oh, Chad McLeod, I did not do his class. I did
really?
It online.
And you passed. You're here.
I passed the first time.
All right, I'll believe you. I'll believe you. Chad was, his class was amazing. Now, I'm very open about this. I have ADHD.
Okay.
So studying was one of the things that kept me from, and fear of exams was one of the things that kept me from taking that next step forward as well.
Yeah.
And so I did the online course and I was like, okay, no, I can do this. And I still felt like I wasn't getting it. And then it was Justin Ferrant who said, you can get into this class with Chad on Wednesdays, and he goes over the exam prep, and it was huge. It was huge. All of a sudden, things started clicking. Everything started coming together. Yeah. I met this girl on our online classes who had dyslexia. And so we really clicked. And she, offline, she said, could we study together? You have trouble reading things and staying focused. I have trouble reading. Would you read to me? And I was like, yes, I would. And that would be very helpful. And right then I realized what being a realtor was, coming forward for people, being open about who you are, about your struggles, your strengths, your weaknesses, helping each other out, meet these goals. All of that is amazing. So that is how I passed that exam. It was incredible. I'd recommend for anybody to start there. But when you start as a realtor, the most important thing to do is to get in and start meeting your other realtors.
Start meeting other realtors. Mm-hmm. I love that. And that's a fine place to put a point in it. Chad, that's a really big accolade for you. So thank you for recommending Chad's class. I think in general, and maybe we can just shout out to Keller Williams in general. The environment and the training is... yes.
Yeah. Keller Williams, we've got the brokerage that has all the agents that show up for each other. I don't have experience at another brokerage to share.
Yeah.
I'd like to hope that all brokerages have this level of camaraderie and showing up for each other. But my only experience has been Keller Williams, and I can't see myself leaving because this is home.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're a family here. We help support each other. We grow our businesses together, whether we're on teams or not. And we all just want to do our best and have a good time doing it.
Flynn, I love that. And why would anyone not want to buy a home from you?
Thanks.
So I'm going to say, just in finishing, if you could let us know what is the best way to reach you for anyone looking to buy or sell a home. If you could just let us know your number or email address.
My number's 489-0852. I've got that old, strong Nova Scotia area code, 902. Social media, anywhere. If I do this, Mike, can you show my number or my email?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Great idea.
Yeah. we do that with all the...
Yeah.
If you go this specific, a little lower,
there
right about there. Yeah, I'll put it...
There.
Right there.
My email?
Yeah.
My email, my number.
There you go.
Anything.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming on, Flynn. This was amazing. I really enjoyed this chat.
Me too.
Till next time.
Yeah.
And we'll sit here awkwardly looking at each other.
Is that how it ends?
No, I don't know. I don't mean we can hold.
Do we hold hands?
We can shake hands.
We shake hands.
How was that?
It was good.
It felt good.
I probably fiddled so much
I also fiddle. So I try to hold
I
a
was
pen.
like,
or-
oh,
You
good, I got a pen.
That's great.
Sweet,
Yeah.
clickety. I was like,
Yeah.
don't click that pen,
I
Flynn.
didn't hear a single click.
I didn't.
So you're...
I didn't. I was like, you're gonna
Yeah.
click that though.
You think like you're under a microscope, but it's not actually the case. I find that
You're under a Mike Rogers scope.
you're in a microscope.
Yeah, I've been waiting my entire life for that moment.
Now's the moment. This is your time to
good.
shine, Mike.
There you go, Mikey.